Hello, welcome to Rachel Paints Poorly. My name is Rachel and I paint poorly. Today is the 2022 edition of Christmas Crafting for Cheapskates, in which we buck the trend of buying overpriced Christmas decorations. Now, before the rumors start swirling, oh, Rachel doesn't like Christmas decorations, or Christmas, or decorations. That's not true. I like all three, okay? My house has a combination of art, seasonal decor, and a few homey touches. What I don't like is overpriced decor, especially holiday specific. You just don't get that much use out of it during the course of the year. Now, I get that some of this stuff you really can't make yourself, and that's fine. Having terrible taste isn't a crime, although it should be in this case, and it's your money. However, paying $30 for a red velvet cone, that adds up quickly, especially if you need a whole forest of red velvet cones for reasons. $45 for a pile of pine cones when pine trees will drop them at your feet for free? Not on my watch. And so, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? The red velvet cone is really straightforward. You'll need a foam cone, red velvet fabric, red velvet ribbon, and small silver straight pins to hold everything in place. Foam cones can get pricey, so take advantage of coupons. This cone, oh, I forgot to look up the price of it. Gosh darn it, forgot to look up the price. Bleh. Bleh. Okay, there we go. Foam cones can get pricey, so take advantage of coupons. This cone was originally $6.49. I used a 50% off coupon and got it for $3.24. Likewise, True Velvet by the yard is going to cost you as well. Fortunately, thrift stores are an excellent alternative to traditional bolts of fabric. You can find velvet clothing, drapery, and extant decorations such as this stocking. Larger pieces are especially useful if you are indeed making that velvet forest that you just had to have, for reasons. Velvet comes in a variety of colors, so you're not only limited to red. Jewel tones and green, blue, and purple are all excellent options and will complement most decor. When ironing velvet, to avoid crushing the pile, you can use a velvet board designed specifically for the purpose, or you can use another piece of velvet. Simply line them up, right sides or pile sides together, and press. Getting the fabric over your cone is going to look different depending on the size of your cone and the shape and size of the fabric you're using. Just take your time, have patience, try multiple approaches, and don't be afraid to cut off excess and fill in bare spots. I chose to secure everything with pins. It's more forgiving and less messy than hot glue. Plus, you can remove the velvet at a later date and reuse the cone, if you so desire. With the ribbon, I placed it strategically to cover the piecing lines of the stocking, then used the extra to fill in the empty spaces in an aesthetically pleasing manner. The pins I also spaced out so they are incorporated into the design as functional decoration, if you will. However, I ran out of velvet ribbon at the end, so I dug some sparkly red ribbon out of my stash and used it to finish off the bottom. It's not exactly like the original, but I'm pleased with the overall effect, final result, and most importantly, the price. Unlike the red velvet cone, the Pinecone Cone consists of a lot more materials and prep work. Again, in this instance, the foam cone was $5.49. Using a 40% off coupon, I got it for $3.29. The original has white ornaments interspersed throughout, but I didn't want to buy any, so I used all the remaining white foam balls from my stash, stabbed myself while attaching them to crafting wire, and coated them in a combination of white, gray, and gold paint. For the pine cones themselves, I happen to live in an area where pine trees literally drop cones into my backyard, and all I had to do was put shoes on, pick them up, and bake them in the oven at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 93 degrees Celsius, until they opened and the sap was dry, which for me was about 2,000 hours. If you're lucky enough not to live in a frigid winter wasteland like I do, pine cones are readily available at craft stores and online. Likewise, while I chose to incorporate live evergreen dropped from the same obliging pine tree, faux pine will work just as well, and is actually used in the original. Unlike the original, the pine cones I'm using are longer and thinner. So instead of slavishly following the original layout, it's best to experiment with what you're working with. Before securing the pine cones, I used a foam shaping tool to create a larger surface on which to hot glue them. As I placed and secured the pine cones, I began filling in the spaces with the white foam balls, silver and gold berry sprays, and gold glitter sea urchins? I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be, but the shape is similar to the potpourri looking things in the original, so I went with them. Do y'all remember potpourri? It was big in the 90s. One year my mom made potpourri gifts for everyone in our extended family. You take a big vase, fill it with potpourri and a string of Christmas lights, cover the top with a doily, then secure the doily with a festive cord or ribbon, like the 1990s version of an oil diffuser. She even matched the color of the potpourri with the primary decor of each recipient's house. Naturally, we had one too. It sat in the dining room for a really long time. I don't recall how well it worked as a diffuser, but I did like using the doily as a finger trampoline. Once all of the pine cones are set, start moving the accessories around. These aren't set in glue, so step back and see what works best with your specific pine cone layout, making adjustments as needed. I did use glue to secure some of the greenery, which I used to fill in the empty spaces. Even then, I ended up pulling some of them off and repositioning them anyway. Tweak and adjust until you're satisfied with the overall appearance. Because this particular tree was going to be against a wall instead of seen in the round, I was able to get away with having gaps in the back, leaving all the accessories available to be used in the front. That's another advantage to making these things yourself, the ability to customize the originals to suit your needs best. You have the ability to match colors or themes, design for specific locations, and use readily accessible supplies and supplies that you already have. Combined, you have a great decoration suited to your space and your budget. And if you're feeling super motivated, you can even harness some of my mom's 1990s spirits and make your friends and family a craft for Christmas. I probably won't use it as a finger trampoline. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.